Brian Jaso here with Jake Brown, a good friend of mine from Arbor Illuminations and Arbor Landscape. So I've known Jake quite a while, and about 3 years ago, I want to say, he bought a lighting division, SRQ Outdoor Lighting, in Sarasota. He'd already had Arbor Landscape, so he was already in the landscape field, but he bought SRQ Outdoor Lighting, and we started collaborating on a way to really grow that business, because I know that wasn't doing really what it could have been or what it should have been.
Sure.
So it was really about 3 years ago that we started diving into different ways to grow that business. And from those conversations sort of gave birth to this idea of Lighting Boss.
Right.
Because we were talking about different ways to do proposals and drawings and estimates, and from my experience in the field, or my experience in the field of landscape lighting in the industry, it seems like everyone is using something different, and you've seen that.
Absolutely,
you've seen that over the last few years, right? So what I want to talk about is how you use Lighting Boss. And keep in mind, Jake is a friend of mine, but we have beers in our hands right now. It's Friday afternoon. We're not going to bullshit anyone. We're going to talk about what's good about this, what could be better.
Sure.
If there's anything we don't like, get real. So tell people about how you use Lighting Boss on a daily basis, and how it's better than the other approaches that you have seen.
Sure. So we started out using, like most people, QuickBooks to do our estimates, and then if you close the sale, you convert it over to invoice. It all stays right there in the same program. That's all fine and well, but 90% of the time you're doing that estimate back at the office, not with the client. You're going to have to schedule a second meeting, which means you have to keep their attention for X amount of days until you get to meet back with them. And we found that was, it worked. That's what everybody else was doing. But when you started to dive into it and think about how can we improve, how can we be better, how can we differ ourselves from the competition, it turned into a much larger conversation. Just first of all, what's the sales process like? What's the buying process like from the other side? And between those two things, I think we started to really see there's a disconnect from a buyer who is excited and ready to make some decisions. They had you out for a reason. They want lighting. Then saying, well, let me go back to the office. I'll get back to you whenever I can come out with a proposal. You get busy. Even though sales is the lifeline of a business, other things get in the way, and you are now looking at maybe being 10 days from that initial conversation before you're presenting. A lot of information is forgotten. Competitors are coming in between you and that first meeting, and that's just a huge deal. It's a game changer, being able to use Lighting Boss the way we do. The way we use Lighting Boss is we show up on site. Typically, I've done a little research, about 5 minutes. I'll pull the address, see if it's sold recently, try to get a kind of idea if it's a new buyer, new owner. If it's somebody who's been in the house for 20 years, maybe they're going through that remodel, that 20-year big remodel. Mm-hmm. Location obviously plays a factor in how you approach maybe which products, demo pieces I want to bring with me. Typically we have the same ones, but if I know they have a dock, I may throw some underwater lights or things like that in the truck on my way out there. And then finally I use a Google image. I always pull a Google image. Okay. And we're kind of jumping ahead here a little bit, I think.
That's fine.
But a Google image is exactly the image you need inside the Lighting Boss software to allow you to use the design features.
Yeah, so you do that before you get on site.
I typically do, and the reason is you go farther, in our location, farther out east, sometimes the cell service drops off, things like that. And the last thing I want to do is not be able to do my proposal when I bragged about my ability to do that proposal on site. So once it's all on the tablet, Lighting Boss runs completely off the grid. You can do all of your things with or without service or Wi-Fi. So what we do is we save that photo and then upload it into Lighting Boss. I go ahead and make the client's name, put their information in. So that way when I'm on site, I'm not having to deal with the smaller details that, the questions that I shouldn't really need to be asking again.
So there's a little bit of prep work that you do. You're talking about 5 minutes or so of prep work.
5 minutes on a computer or even on a tablet.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Walking through the property, because you can give someone an estimate extremely quickly with an Excel spreadsheet.
Sure.
Talk about the process, sort of the drag and drop process, and how you're able to keep the conversation flowing so that you're not out there counting, oh, we need 12 spotlights. Right. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I mean, going back a couple years, it was that tally, like one spotlight here, tally, one spotlight here, and then you add up the tallies at the end, put it in an Excel spreadsheet, put it in QuickBooks, and that's how you get your total number of fixtures. What we're doing is we're walking with the tablet in hand, the image picked up, that Google Earth image, and we're dropping the fixtures exactly where they're going to go on the map, exactly where we want our installers to put them, and exactly where we want our clients to see they're going to go. What we're finding is we're able to continue the flow of conversation, ask them, where are you from? Most of our people are seasonal. Get to know where they moved from or where their second home is. Get to know about their families, what they do for a living, if they're still working. All in the meantime, touring the property, getting that visual, getting those images dropped to where they should go, using spotlights, wash lights, pathway lights. We even have specialty lights in our system, and it's all customizable. So whatever type of lighting you're doing, you are able to alter that in the back end of the software from the computer. Really simple. But it really keeps the flow of the conversation going, which is the biggest change for me. Instead of, hey, show me what you want, let's talk, we walk around, now I got a bunch of tallies on a clipboard or whatever, we're able to provide them with a fixture map immediately.
And when you're out there with the clients and they see, remember, we have the option inside of Lighting Boss where they can actually see the price.
Correct.
as you're dragging and dropping the fixtures into the image, or you can remove that price. So out of curiosity, do you see clients when you're walking through the property, are they looking at that price tally and they're thinking to themselves, maybe that's too high or that's just fine, can we make changes? Do you use that to make quick changes and enable you to kind of close the deal right then and there?
What I do typically is I do not have the price on the main screen that I'm dragging and dropping on.
Okay.
The reason is sometimes you may forget to add a transformer or forget to do something like that in the walk around section. Typically what I'll do is say I need 1 or 2 minutes. I'll step aside. It's hot here. Typically they want to go inside. We'll go inside. At that point, I'll sit down at the table. I will add our power sources and where they're going to go. That takes a little thought. Do we need to, get under a sidewalk? Do we need 2 transformers because of a driveway situation, a water feature out in the middle of the yard, all kinds of scenarios. So that gives me that little split second to make sure I avoid giving them a price or giving them a number that may jump by $1,000 for all the power systems that are going to come in.
Okay.
But then I go into the estimator section, which has totaled all of the different types of fixtures. And with that estimator section, now I have numbers in front of me. Once I feel comfortable, I've added enough wire in, those types of things. Then I show them that number.
Okay.
That's when I present them with, it's going to be roughly $10,000 or it's going to be $10,050.20 because it's that accurate once your pricing is in the software.
So then if there are any objections at that proposal, the sit-down proposal, that's when you can make changes. Because your goal, I assume that your goal and all of your goals should be to get a check before you leave.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing that's changed for us is the on-site closings they're up by 100%. We used to almost never do them because we would always go back to the office and draw up a proposal and come back out and assume that they were so excited to work with us that, they'd wait a week. Or the people who said they were right in a rush, we still would schedule something for the next day, but a lot of things change in 24 hours for people. I mean, busy people with businesses and lives and things happen. So that closing ratio is really what I've seen be the biggest impact on our business from using the software. Myself and our other salespeople have really benefited from that.
And I think that I harp on the fact that all of you should be doing proposals in person right then and there as quickly as you possibly can.
Yes.
Because as you alluded to, the excitement is gone after that. And if you want to drop your closing ratio in half, just email over proposals.
Yeah, and I think we're all guilty of that at some point or another when we're busy. And Ryan actually was the one who kept harping on me, and I finally have kicked the habit 100%. But what it's really, it's you're not wasting a visit. You're not wasting any more time. You're actually, I think our visits are probably cut in half with the amount of time it actually takes if somebody wanted a proposal, a legitimate design, and a price. We can do it in half the amount of time than if we were to take the time to tally, take the time to go back and do a drawing on the computer, maybe a PDF that you're putting fixtures on. It's all right there in one place, and that's what's been so beneficial for us.
Yeah.
And the closing ratio, the 100% closing ratio, it's also improved our just closing ratio period and our revenue for our company since we started using Lighting Boss.
Do you think that the clients are impressed with this type of technology? I mean, it's great that you're able to do a proposal right then and there, but there are other ways to do proposals right then and there. Do you think they're impressed with sort of the drag and drop ability here and the fact that their project is going to be documented and flexible? Do you use that as a selling point?
We definitely use the documentation as a selling point, the wire diagram that they're going to have, the fixture placement, and it really helps us in the office. Say we do have a lamp that has a warranty issue in a couple of years, we can go back and say, oh, that is on a 30-foot tall Sable Palm. It's going to need a 7-watt, 30-degree lamp, and we can make sure we bring out the right product at the exact time, or what type of fixture was on that tree or something like that, as well as the wiring for future projects, things like that, how to rewire economically, how to help them put that pool in or whatever that addition is that may get in the way of what we had done previously.
And that was exactly the next question. How does it make life easier after the sale, having this flexible documentation?
We're starting to see those benefits now because it didn't, the first couple months after an install, typically there isn't some project that just popped out of nowhere. But we're starting to see fountains being added in people's driveways, things like that. Knowing exactly where our wire is to tie in for an additional section of the system, that's huge. Not having to chase wire down because you forget where it was 18 months later. That's the benefits we're seeing now. That it's not that we're doing it any cheaper, it's just we know which screw to turn and how much to turn it. We know those details that previously a sketch on a pad doesn't give you the detail.
Yeah, or it's up here in someone's
We all
head.
think we're smarter than we are, and think we retain information better than we do. And
and your employees might retain information really well. But how long are those employees going to be around?
Exactly, and we have one installer that's done. He oversees the majority of our installs, but say he gets another job or something, he moves away. I feel pretty confident with the Lighting Boss stuff. That the stuff we have documented there, that we are completely covered. Now, I don't feel as confident on the projects that we did previously to having that documentation, and the documentation wasn't the same quality anyways. So it's kind of, I feel really good about what we've done in the last couple of years. I've seen the headaches that we've had on projects we've done previous to that.
So, the old company that you bought just used, 10 different ways of documenting the projects, if they even did document.
There's several Google Drive folders, and they're not organized, and they're projects I didn't work on personally, so I don't know how to organize them. We just take it as they come sometimes, and this is definitely giving me the confidence to say I know we're gonna be around as a company, and we're gonna value you doing these things, holding our word, honoring the warranties, all those things. But if you don't know where the wire is and you don't know what fixtures they have on site and you don't have that documentation, that can be troublesome to them. And you're not going to be able to honor what you promised.
What fixtures they have where, because if you're using an Excel spreadsheet or QuickBooks, then you have a parts list.
You have a parts,
but you don't necessarily know where they're going.
Well, 5 years down the road, what are you going to know? I mean, you're probably not even. Hopefully, you've done another couple hundred installs in those years, and you're sitting there going, what am I, I remember the property, but I don't remember if there was 3 palms in the front, oak trees. You don't want to sound like an idiot on the phone, and so that Google image is going to let you. I mean, you're going to be able to refresh in a flash of a second. I mean, while you're on the phone, you can start talking the talk and pulling it up, and then you're going to know that you're on the same page as them pretty quick.
Good.
So that's been great for us, is the documentation, definitely.